So much news. I was going to do like a half an hour on Burt Bacharach.
Yeah, right?
And then the Fast X trailer came out.
When it rains, it pours.
But first, I got to say, it's time for beer. Where's the label?
Say, label the camera, Christy.
There you go. So the Super Bowl is this weekend. Time to get your Athletic Brewing Company non-alcoholic beer shipped out to you. It's very delicious. I'm enjoying the IPA today. It's always really good. We've got a deal with them. The code's breakfast all day down below. You get deals on your first order and on shipping. And just why not? You want to go enjoy the game with your friends and then be able to drive home afterward, but still enjoy yourself. Athletic Brewing Company. So yes, the Fast X trailer came out today. There was a whole thing yesterday with like the Fast X experience where you get to see cars.
Ooh.
I didn't go to that.
Where was this?
I don't even know, but a bunch of folks went to it and took pictures. But the trailer is out. Alonso, I'm guessing you did not watch it.
No, I watched it because
good.
Why not? It's Fast X.
All right, so what'd you think?
Dominic Toretto, you're about to learn all about fear. Boom.
They've always got to sort of up the ante on these things. And so, of course, it's more crazy physics defying nonsense and a new big bad played by Jason Momoa and the return of pretty much everybody but The Rock. We're promised all kinds of things, drag races and flashbacks to Fast Five and a big mano a mano between Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez. Rita Moreno is now here as Grandma Toretto. So yeah, they've added 2 Oscar winners to this mix now. So between her and Brie Larson. So okay, sure, why not?
And Charlize Theron.
Well, she was already there.
Yeah. So my favorite part of the Fast X trailer, aside from the big Raiders of the Lost Ark ripoff where they're all like running from a giant ball,
right,
is there's in the trailer you hear Dom saying, and I quote, "We used to race for respect." And while we hear him saying that, it's like slow motion of women's asses gyrating in hot pants.
Yes.
Hashtag family. So yeah, so Jason Momoa's character is the son of Joaquin de Almeida's character.
Okay.
Who was killed in the big vault thing in Fast Five. And apparently has been plotting his revenge for the past 12 years. And so now here we are. And he's targeting Dom's son.
Right. Yes. So
it is Shakespearean.
Okay. Why not? Whatever. Coming in May. You can't not watch it, I suppose, you know.
May 19th. I'm excited. Over and over again, I was watching it going, this is so dumb, but like not in a bad way.
Would you have it any other way, I ask you?
I wouldn't. I don't want restraint. Let's talk about Burt Bacharach.
Yes.
Because he's a legend. He just died at 94. And of course, a legendary composer, songwriter, producer, just a cultural figure, but a huge force in film over the past several decades. When you look back at all the songs that he wrote or co-wrote, and he's got 3 Oscars for Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head and the score for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Plus, he won an Oscar for Arthur's theme.
Right. Yes, of course.
Of course. Yeah, just an incredible force and so singular. And it's funny. And also, of course, his presence in the Austin Powers movies.
Oh, I was going to say, yes, definitely.
Did you know that he inspired the Austin Powers movies?
Do
you know the story?
I believe it. How so specifically? So
according to the AP obit, Mike Myers heard The Look of Love and got the idea for this kind of like sexy British spy, and the whole franchise was born because of it. And so that's why Burt Bacharach has a cameo in them.
Well, The Look of Love was composed for the 1967 Casino Royale, the all-star spoofy one, which Bacharach did the score for, and it's awesome. Like, people fight over whether or not Casino Royale is fun. I'm a defender of it, but if you don't like it, I get it. But you cannot deny how awesome that soundtrack is. So seriously, if you want to pick up some Burt Bacharach to really get a feel for his genius, the Casino Royale soundtrack, great place to start. The documentary about Dionne Warwick that premiered at the Toronto Film Festival in 2021 is now on HBO Max. She was an essential collaborator with him and lyricist Hal David. The 3 of them put together a string of hits in the 1960s that were indelible. Film wise, you're right. They did a ton. Bacharach and David, of course, did the infamous Lost Horizon musical of the early 70s, which has its partisans. But yeah, I mean, he just defined this really cool sound of the 60s, and as our friend Louis Fertel said, he made sentimentality sound sophisticated. And his songs were really hard to sing because there's like key changes and like weird time signature things going on. So whenever they would have like Burt Bacharach week on American Idol or something, I'd be like, oh, these poor kids, they are not ready.
Good luck to you.
They're not ready. The cruelest thing was the time on American Idol where they made all the kids sing Do You Know the Way to San Jose, which is a song about coming to LA and failing and going home. Like, that was just next level.
Anyway, I have been singing That's What Friends Are For around the house. I like doing the Elton John part. That's just me.
That's
so
maybe my least favorite Burt Bacharach song, but fair, I'll allow it.
Think about all the radio hits, though. Huge radio hits.
Yeah.
There were also movie hits. So anyway, Burt Bacharach died at 94, just a legend to the end.
Yes.
So you kids should go look it up. A couple other trailers that came out this week that are not quite so thrilling as the Fast X trailer. I'm excited for them. One of them is Strays.
Having a great time.
This motherfucker right here.
What you want? Huh, homie? You little bitch-ass friend with the motherfucking home perm and shit.
What did you just say?
There you go,
I would
Red.
hate for this to get violent.
It is a talking dog movie starring Will Ferrell as this scruffy little terrier who basically is like Buddy the Elf in a dog. And he gets kicked out of his home. Will Forte is his awful owner who keeps trying to like dump him on the side of the road, and how he gets his revenge. But it's from the director of Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Okay.
And it's like a really raunchy hard R movie with talking dogs featuring Jamie Foxx as a streetwise Boston Terrier. So I of course love that. Anyway,
you have my
drunk,
interest.
Yes, they get drunk, they do shrooms. I'm excited about Strays. That comes out on June 9th.
That was risky. Don't change that now. For a rookie.
Yes.
Who's never set foot on an NBA court.
That's the literal definition of rookie. Yeah.
And then also the trailer for Air, which is Ben Affleck's Air Jordan movie
Yes.
that he directed and stars in as Phil Knight. It's about how Nike wooed Michael Jordan and created the Air Jordan. And it's a great cast. Matt Damon, Jason Bateman. So
Coming to Amazon Prime, right?
On April 5th. I wonder if it'll also have any kind of theatrical run, but that is streaming. So that is happening. So lots of good stuff coming through the spring and the summer. Things to look forward to way far down the road. Apparently there's going to be a Zootopia 2, a Frozen 3, and a Toy Story 5.
Yes.
As well as 7,000 layoffs at Disney.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin on unpacking the Disney story. There's so many weird ramifications of it. And are they going to sell off ESPN? And are they going to get rid of Hulu? And, I feel like we're seeing the blowback of people putting a lot of eggs in the streaming basket. I think they probably hyper inflated their expectations for Disney Plus, and once those didn't turn out, now suddenly everybody suffers. So I don't know.
It's unfortunate, but then they keep going back to the same safe IP.
Yes.
I thought Zootopia ended in satisfying fashion.
Yes.
I thought the whole Toy Story franchise
I thought we'd
ended.
more than wrap that up at this point. Yeah.
Right. Like they could have ended it at 3.
Sure. They should have
And
ended
that
it
would
at
have been
3.
fine. But then we wouldn't have gotten Forky.
Yeah, I know. Like 4 has its moments, sure, but 3 would have been a perfect ending for it. But meanwhile, of course, I'm sure Bob Iger is taking home, massive bonuses and payouts, even as like all of these employees are suffering and taken out of their work.
Yes. Anyway, so we'll have to keep an eye out for those, whether we want to or not. And then Carlos Saura.
Yes.
Legendary Spanish filmmaker. Carlos Saura just died at 91. You and I recently did a table for one with our new friend Reina about a film called Cría Cuervos, which I'm so glad that she introduced us to. Tell us about Carlos Saura, Alonso.
Yeah, he kind of bridges the gap in Spanish cinema between like Buñuel and Almodovar, basically. He starts making films in the 60s and becomes an international phenomenon, and as such is sort of able to make movies that would otherwise probably have been suppressed by the Franco regime. But because he was, winning awards at Cannes and was, involved in a very high profile relationship with Geraldine Chaplin, who's, the daughter of Charlie Chaplin and the granddaughter of Eugene O'Neill, this very, notable public figure, he was able to dig a little more at kind of the hypocrisies of Spanish society during the last years of the Franco regime than other directors might have. His films explore a lot of very different directions. He has a whole sort of sub-genre of music-based films. He did kind of a flamenco trilogy where he took these classic works of literature like Garcia Lorca's Blood Wedding and Carmen and turned them into these like flamenco performances, which were really terrific. He has documentaries about, different kinds of like Spanish and Mexican music genres. So he's really just kind of all over the place and was, stayed active for a very, he was 91, but he was like still making films a couple of years ago. In fact, tomorrow was going to be receiving a Career Achievement Award at the Goya Awards, which are the Spanish Oscars. So like, just one day shy of that is unfortunately he passed away. He'd been dealing with respiratory issues. He'd had like a small stroke, and I think he'd had a fall last year when he was walking his dog. So it was not entirely unexpected, but yeah, he's a giant in Spanish cinema. I retweeted Antonio Banderas had a nice tweet this morning talking about like, what a legend he was and what an amazing body of work he leaves behind. So yeah, Carlos Saura, a huge impact on global cinema, dead at 91.